welcome to the Well Child Show. It's another edition of the Well Child Show with Kemak, brought to you by Global Child Health and Safety Initiative. My name is Kemak Oguntuga, and I'm so proud and happy to be your host. Thank you for staying with us today. On the program today, we're looking at a very poignant topic that brings to bear so much emotions, so much sentiment, and so much pain in my heart. Sexual violence of any form is one of the most debilitating experiences that any human being could go through. How much more when the human being is a minor, or what we call a child. Today on the show, I have a very well-heeled professional who is a neurologistics practitioner, as well as an abuse recovery therapist and specialist. And she will be delving into the topic rape and trying to help us understand how we can re-engineer society, I beg your pardon, to better handle and totally eradicate rape. Let's go on a very quick breather, and when I return, the Well Child Show continues. Please stay with us. You're welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Well Child Show, brought to you by Global Child Health and Safety Initiative. My name is Kemak Oguntuga, and I welcome you to today's edition of the show. As I stated earlier, the topic today, we're looking at rape and re-engineering society. There's so much around the topic of rape, and my guest today is very well versed. Her name is Funke Oguntuga. She is the founder and the executive director of the Heartminders Initiative. She's a child safety expert, a neurologistics programming practitioner, and of course she is an advocate for the rights to safety, well-being and empowerment of the woman and the girl child. She joins us on this edition of the Well Child Show to discuss the topic rape. Funke, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Every time I have an opportunity to sit with you, there's always such a come to Jesus moment. Like it's such, I don't know how to explain or to express it, but you have been through so much in your life.
Absolutely.
And one thing that keeps amazing me about you is how you have taken the horrible experiences of your life and you are rewriting the narrative in the lives of today's children.
Right.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
And of course, I couldn't have a better person to help us look at the topic rape. Now, as a professional, what is rape? Let's just start from there.
Okay. I would say rape is a form of sexual assault, and as much as possible we like to avoid using the word sex when we're defining rape.
Okay.
Because a lot of people like to say it is a non-consensual sex. Mm-hmm. But then to us, what it means is that probably the person was unable or had the inability to give consent but wanted it.
Whoa.
Or in a way we are trying to excuse the crime in it. So would rather it remain that rape is a form of sexual assault. Yes.
That's quite deep.
It is.
Because, coming from the angle where you're bringing it from, if you look at the word sex,
yes,
connotes like, of course it's a natural form of human interaction, but when you put it that way, it makes it seem like there are plausible excuses.
Exactly.
For
he
that.
excuses the crime therein.
Okay, now, of course, any form of sexual intimacy has to have the agreement of the parties involved. And basically, let's even look at child sexual abuse. Obviously, would you say it's a section or a part of rape in the sense that one party cannot give consent?
Yes.
Or what would you say about that?
Right. Child sexual abuse is, to me, I mean, it's a child cannot give consent. That's it. And then it depends on the society that we are. So now in Nigeria, the consensual age that we are still not okay with, that the law stipulates is saying 11.
Wow.
Yes.
11 years?
11. But we are saying that, why would you say a child and someone cannot, is not of age when the person is not 18?
Right.
But then when it
can
comes...
give consent.
Yes, can give consent when the person is younger.
That's
that to us is like still talking about the culture of rape that is embedded in us, because it is easy for people to want to excuse a crime that that people think it is not worth it. It's not worth our time. Why should I waste my time talking about a crime that one party enjoyed?
Right.
Because we believe that nobody wants to put it succinctly, but we know that somewhere down the line, somebody is trying to hide under the law to say that we can do this and we can excuse this. I was having a discussion earlier with someone about the penal code, where in the north, a man is allowed to beat the wife, and it is called correction.
Oh my word.
In the penal code. Now we are saying that if you say that what the religion allows is that you use the tip of your clothes to beat your wife, which is what they say it is in the Holy Quran, that is what they believe encouraged the law. We are saying that it is not the duty of a man to correct his wife.
I absolutely agree.
So the same thing applies, and
to
there are
the
advocacy around
right,
it.
and you're doing so much around, rape advocacy. You're trying to, re-engineer society and get people to. Now, let's delve in deeper. Now, what would you say is the role of society in controlling and possibly eradicating rape?
Two things that comes to mind immediately is being an active bystander. I believe that if we move from saying something and not saying something, we will do better. Because when this happens in our society, it's not as if this is happening under the ground.
Right.
It's in our face, it's our neighbors, our friends, our families that it happens to. So what the first role that everybody needs to take on is to always say something when something happens. No matter how little. If it's the police, you help them get. If it's the victim that you would help us get to the hospital. If it's the perpetrator, you help us arrest. You must play a role. It must be a significant role. The role must be tangible.
Right.
You cannot be quiet and be winking behind that I know the person, because a lot of people do it when we get to the scene and we need to arrest and say, shh, I did not tell you. Do you know that? So we need people to stand firm and say something when this happens. So the implication of this is that people would see you that you had already taken a stand.
Right.
They know where you are. So in case anything like that happens another time, they would be certain that you will not keep quiet. That's what it means. Then another thing that comes to mind is our culture. It's really sad how much goes under the carpet, even amongst people that we expect should be the bearer of the law.
Right.
That says it's none of your business. Why are you putting your mouth in this?
Okay, in essence, like third parties who should help bring
exactly like
the
the
arm
police,
of the law,
yes,
trying to discourage advocates.
Exactly, they discourage advocates a lot, and this is not something that is new to all of us that are in this. We get frustrated a lot of time. A lot of things happen, and you just wanted to go back to your house and relax. Because
right.
It gets painful that a policeman will claim to forget the file in the police station.
Just to frustrate the process of justice
exactly.
for victims.
Yes.
And it becomes really mind-boggling when people adopt this attitude of it's not my problem, it's not my personal issue.
Yes. Because
then how can we progress as a society?
That is it.
Because what affects one affects all.
It affects all.
Okay, now obviously, I really don't know how to craft this statement that I want to make. The next question I want to ask you in such a way, but I'm just lost for words. What advice would you have for a victim who has just been raped? What are the immediate steps the person should take?
Okay, so the immediate thing that should be done is to call a friend or a family, because most of the time, when rape or sexual assault or any form of abuse happens, the person at the receiving end is startled. You don't know what to do. You don't know who to call. But there will always be that one person that you trust enough.
Right.
Maybe not to say this is everything that happened, but to say I need to get out of this situation. I am in so place and I need to get out. You need to be able to call someone to get you out of that situation, and that is the purpose of calling the person. It is not that the person should either believe you or not. It is so that you are out of the situation, and it means to us you're out of danger. That is the first thing to do. Get out of the situation, and then the next thing is report at the nearest police station.
Right.
Report at the nearest police station. If you are able to put yourself together, you can call Lagos. If you're Lagos State emergency number 116 or 767, or I would leave my number before the end of the program.
Definitely.
You can call us so that you can have somebody go with you.
Right.
Because it can be another problem to talk to a Nigerian police officer. So we can always go with you, and then you have, when you get to the police station, you have the right to a statement.
Right.
You have the right to give your statement in a private office. You have the right to give your statement to a female police officer. And when you get there, you can act for the family support unit that we have tried to establish. Lagos State government has tried to establish in some of our police stations. They have been trained to get information out of you, and they know how to get it without throwing it back in your face or blaming you for that situation.
Right.
And then from that place, the next place is to get to a place where they can get forensic evidence, where they can give you treatment. And you have to do this in 72 hours max.
Okay.
So that you don't wash away evidence, and then you don't get discouraged not to go ahead
following the steps.
From following the
steps. Now, I'm glad you talked about washing away evidence.
Yes.
Because I read somewhere, and this is kind of like an emotional and psychological reaction to people who have just been raped.
Yes.
Most people say the first thing they do is go in and take a bath.
Like I did.
What do you have to say about that? Now, a lot of research going on is actually discouraging victims from doing that.
Yes.
Why?
Because of forensic evidences. Once you wash away, some of the things that forensic test would take as evidence is semen.
Okay.
Is bruises, because of course, because it's a forceful penetration, and then it will leave bruises. No matter how tiny, they'll be able to get it out. And then you would be able to immediately get all the necessary treatments you need against STIs and HIV. Because there are some drugs you must take in 72 hours that might lead to regret if not taken, because you don't know where the person is coming from.
Right.
And then it could become pregnancy.
Right.
So all these things we try to make sure you don't have when you get to the hospital. So when we ask you to come to the hospital, it's not because we want to get evidences to take to the police station. Because pursuing a case is 1000% your choice. You can choose not to, but we encourage you to, so that because
to set a precedent.
Exactly, because the perpetrator,
the
next victim could be somebody close to you.
Right. Okay. Now, I didn't want to bring this up, but you have had first-hand experience,
yes.
And of course, you're open about your experience as a survivor of rape.
Yes.
What goes on in the mind of a victim at the point of being raped, especially a young girl or even a young boy?
Yes.
What would you say, having come from that experience yourself, what would you say goes on in the mind of the victim?
All right. So for me, because mine is CSA, child sexual abuse, I felt unprotected. I felt that the whole world is crumbling. Like, why me?
Like vulnerable?
I felt vulnerable. Like, why is it happening to me? Why am I this person's target? And then why are those that are supposed to protect me not protecting me? Where are they? At this point, where are they? And then, because like 70% of other victims, we like to call them survivors, but trust me, until you take that bold step of helping yourself to make sure you're no longer a victim, you're still a victim. If you are still in the hide, if you have not gotten help, I mean professional help, to be mentally stable, to handle issues that sexual abuse will throw at you, because trust me, it is more than that 5 minutes or 2 minutes or 1 minute. You can never forget it. It's an experience that time can never heal.
And I was going to ask that question.
Only a professional help can get you out of it. A lot of people try to hide it. And when you hide it, you continue to dwell in trauma and depression. But then, every victim has a question. And the question is, why me?
Wow.
Every victim has a question. The question is, why? You might immediately not react to that question, but down the line, you would have questions about what you did wrong. You would want to question yourself.
Whether there are ways that you empowered what happened.
And why did I drink? Why did I go to the party? I shouldn't have attended the party. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have. There will be, especially because of the society that we are in, there will be forces that will want to push the blame to you, but trust me, it is not your fault.
Now, I'm so glad that you're saying this. And you also talked about the support system that family or friends or a trusted person should provide for a victim of rape.
Yes.
What would you advise someone, maybe like a friend, a relative or family member, on the incidents of the rape of their loved ones?
Yes.
What should the support system do?
The support system, first and foremost, and which unfortunately we don't get, is the believability. I don't know why a child will not be confident and have confidence to talk to their parents that I have gone through this, and they would know down their heart that they would be believed.
So that's a problem of.
It's a problem.
Intimacy, communication, and I would even say love.
Yes. The immediate thing that every victim would love is that the next person they are talking to believed what has happened. I mean, you have given the person 50% healing.
Wow.
50 whole percent healing just by opening your mouth and saying, I believe you.
Wow.
Because a child don't lie. Children don't lie. Children will tell you as it is. Every lie that your child has learned, you taught them. Children don't lie. They will tell you as it is and in your own interest, because this thing comes back to you. If you have a child that cannot sleep at night, a child that is functioning well in school and no longer can concentrate, it comes back to you. So you need to believe your child first. You need to believe that girl first. You need to believe that boy first. If a boy child comes to you and say, I'm in boarding school and a senior boy is harassing me, is doing this to me, you need to believe the boy first. By believing the boy, you have given him hope. By believing the girl, you have given her hope to pour out more to you. Trust me, the remaining 50%, counseling, therapy, probably getting justice, will take care of it.
Because I absolutely agree with you, because for someone who has been through trauma, there's already a sense of hopelessness on the inside.
Yes.
And you're expecting some form of comfort and the assurance of hope for the future.
You get it.
But when you are met with doubt, disbelief, and outright, this even leads us to victim blaming and shaming.
Yes. No, that's victim blaming and shaming is one thing that I would love everybody that is under our voice today to understand what it does to a victim. When somebody had just been raped or had just been harassed,
or even after so many years, someone's the courage to tell their story.
Exactly. No matter how, you cannot ask anyone. I didn't tell my story until many years after. I have the right. I I am in a place where I can talk about what I have gone through because I am totally healed. I am totally in a space where because I suffered for it. I suffered for my silence.
Oh my word.
I paid with so many things. I paid in different ways. And this is what I'm doing with my initiative to make sure no girl child goes through that.
And of course, you are perfectly within your rights. It's your right to heal at your own pace.
Exactly. That is what I wanted to mention. You have to allow people, you know, because we always have, and then we have this thing that we do in this part of the world, and then we think that we have the right to extract information from people, and it has to be at our own pace. I mean, this is not like, even as a professional counselor, when you come to us and you don't want to talk, we honor that, that you are not ready to talk. But then we place it in front of you, what you would gain
by opening up
sooner.
Now, I've always like tried to wrap my head around this concept of parents, particularly who doubt the veracity of the claims of their children at sexual abuse. Could it be that the mind of the parents are not ready to accept the reality that my child has just been abused? So, you know, refusing to believe the child could be a coping mechanism for the parents in order not to go berserk and lose their own, you know, sanity.
Yes.
Could that be the case?
Yes, that could be the case. And it could also be the case of the parent also had experience and then does not want the trigger to come up.
Right. So it's all about self-preservation to a large extent.
Absolutely. They want to preserve their mentality that, no, this is not happening again.
Denial.
So they are in denial.
Oh my word.
So they are in denial. A lot of people who openly say that this hasn't happened, they are in denial because they are aware that this thing is happening.
Now, Funke, we're fast running out of time, but I want you to tell us, it may be 1, 2, or 3 things not to say to a victim of rape.
Yeah, that's easy. One thing that you shouldn't tell a rape victim is, are you sure? Don't ask that question. Don't ask if the person is sure. Don't ask what the person was wearing. And don't ask, a lot of people would say that, are you dating the guy?
Basically, questions that make it
Questions
seem
that
like it was a consensual...
Like you put yourself in that
situation.
Yes. Do not ask questions that rapes the victim all over again.
Wow. Because
we relive this experience. We have triggers. I get triggers. But when I get triggers, it's no longer from a place of pain. I channel that energy to help the next girl.
Right.
I bring out my file and I look for the next person I want to help. You get? So you cannot ask questions that makes the person who is trying to heal, or I would best say who is trying to forget, because a lot of people, that's what we do in this part of the world. We put it on the carpet so that we don't remember.
Right.
But of course, it will always come back.
It will.
It's always come back. The best thing is to go through the process, heal, forgive yourself because it is not your fault,
right,
and then get necessary help. And when you need to pursue justice, please do.
Come to people like
Come to people like us who will help you. And thank God for Lagos State government. You get a free lawyer.
Wow.
Oh yes, we get a free lawyer, and then we'll pursue it to a logical conclusion.
Wow. Okay, Funke, I know you're coming up with a program that's the Walk Against Rape. Can you give us details about that? Okay,
so it's our annual sensitization work. We do it to educate communities about available helps, helplines that they can call, what to do, like you have just asked me. Those are the things. We have a leaflet that we give. So this year we are going to Surulere community.
Okay.
Yes, we'll be moving from National Stadium on the 17th of April 2020.
Okay.
And the convergence, yes, Surulere, and it's 7 a.m. By 11 a.m. we are done. So part of the things we'll be doing is to sensitizing people, letting them know the things that they can do. And even though it has happened before a long time ago, there are still steps you need to take to heal and, to move forward in life.
Right now, so if for well-meaning individuals and organizations that want to be a part of what you're doing, because what you're doing is really huge,
Yes.
trying to retell, the narrative and to educate people. Because I've met several times people who hear about a rape case and then they try to use logic in a sense, begin to ask some very annoying questions, and people generally, because of how crass this situation is, they don't know how to respond. So if for people that want to get involved in this, of course I'm partnering with you, the Well Child Show will partner with you, and of course on behalf of Galaxy TV, we will do everything that we can to support this cause. So for some of our viewers that want to be a part of this, how can they reach you on social media, or if you have phone numbers, even victims of rape that are watching, that can reach out to you?
Oh yes, so on social media platforms, it's Heartminders Initiative. Heartminders is spelled H-E-A-R-T, that's the heart, then M-I-N-D-E-R-S.
Good.
Heartminders. And the number is a 24 hours hotline that you could call. It's 080-9418-0000. And my personal line too is so that you can call 080-24-300-634.
Perfect, Funke. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And of course, it's the month, International, it's the Women's Month.
Yes.
And the International Women's Day comes up on Sunday.
Yes.
And of course, a sister organization, that's the Women in Successful Careers, WISCA, is organizing a free movie screening of a movie titled Money Marriage. So this movie actually talks about, it just gives a lot of expose to the issues centered around child marriages and how that affects and impacts the lives of the girl child. Now, this screening is taking place on the 8th of March, that's this Sunday, at the Impact Hub, number 7A, Milverton Road in Ikoyi, here in Lagos. So we call as many, as many of you watching, come be a part of that event so that you can learn and have, a broader view on the impacts and the imports of, any form of sexual interaction between a minor, a child, and an adult. Funke, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Of course, we're going to bring you back. Right. The Walk Against Rape is in a few weeks' time.
Yes.
So I'm sure we will have you back to throw more light on your initiative. And of course, rape is just something that thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, and of course to you viewers, I'm really glad that you have shared today's program with us. But of course the conversation continues as always on our social media platforms popping up on the screen. And then we're still calling on well-meaning individuals and organizations. Partner with us on the Well Child Show. Empower us so that we'll continue to bring this enlightenment and education on global best practices in child health and safety. My name is Kemak Onyenuchea, and until I come your way on the next edition of the Well Child Show, always remember, child health and safety is everybody's business. Goodbye and God bless you.